All right, I just got the stats for August 2024. This would be for attached properties in downtown Vancouver. So West End, Cole Harbour, Yaletown. You could cover Falls Creek Olympic Village or Mount Pleasant with this as well. So I find what's going on in the media right now to be very confusing. The only stats I really follow mainly are from the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. Your realtor should be able to share those with you. I also do follow the Globe and Mail, the Financial Post, because I want to know what's going on in the overall Canadian economy and the US economy with interest rates, inflation. But really, the Real Estate Board, is where you want to be getting your stats from. There is a lot of media out there that I don't know where they're getting their information from. One of them, and I have clients that send me these articles from time to time. One of them is called Better Dwelling. Very unusual. It's run by a guy, Stephen Panwazi, I think his name is. Strange cat. And Better Dwelling has been writing about how the downtown Vancouver market, downtown Toronto, the condo market's a Ponzi scheme and it's going to crash any day now. They've been saying that for probably almost 10 years. So it's important to follow the right sources. And again, I think Globe and Mail, Financial Post are pretty good, but really you want to look to the board. So right now we are at the high end of a buyer's market, but the low end of a balanced market. So we're right on the cusp between a buyer's market and a more balanced market. So the days of that strong seller market when interest rates were at rock bottom lows, multiple offers, 15, 20, 30 offers on decent quality units, that's over. Although you still do get bidding wars from time to time. If the product is high quality, it's priced correctly. But the sales to active listings ratio, that's what we want to look at. That's how we take the temperature of the market. A buyer's market would be anything going up to about 11% sales to active listings ratio. Balance would be 12 to 20%. Sellers would be 21% and above. So right now we're around 11%. Again, a buyer's market on the cusp of a more balanced market. That's where we stand right now. So these guys that are saying the condo market's crashing, Metro Vancouver housing collapse, and all these guys, they don't know what they're talking about. Prices were down about 3% for the attached market in August. On average, they're selling about 3% below the list price. However, it's worth noting, in a lot of cases, these units are going into multiple price reductions. So yes, it's selling 3% below that eventual list price, but they might have had 2 or 3 price reductions prior to that. Basically, the downtown condo market, it's basically treaded water the last 3 or 4 years. We had a huge run up from about 2010, and then it's just been treading water, kind of going sideways ever since. Sellers right now, I find, are totally unrealistic with their expectations. Most of them want all-time peak prices, above all-time peak prices, which they're not going to get because at the time you were taking out a mortgage at 2.2%. Now your typical fixed rate is going to be around 4.5%, maybe a little over that. So interest rates are like gravity. You're not going to get those all-time peak prices. Eventually we'll get back there though, and they are. We've had 3 consecutive rate cuts now from the Bank of Canada. They're calling for more and probably more aggressive cuts in 2025. So yeah, interest rates are like gravity. Buyers are having a hard time to qualify. But that being said, sellers don't really need to sell. I'm seeing basically zero distress in the marketplace. Foreclosures are incredibly rare. If a seller doesn't get the price they want, they will typically just pull it from the market. And I see a lot of those terminated listings. I've had some myself where the seller just says, let's pull it from the market. Maybe we'll list it in the fall or maybe we'll list it next spring. So that's what I see a lot of. CMAs. Okay. When you price your property, your realtor should send you a CMA, comparative market analysis, based on recent solds in your building, okay? You should trust your realtor's CMA. If you don't trust your realtor, you probably need to go find another realtor because the CMAs that I'm running are, for the most part, extremely accurate. They will accurately assess the value, but most sellers, in my experience, it's always been like this. Sellers always want more and buyers always want to pay less. But I feel like that chasm has really grown in this marketplace here. Sellers generally are going to want 10 or 15% more than the property is worth. Buyers want to negotiate 10 or 15% less than the market value of what that place is worth. So, that's the brass tacks of it. I know sellers aren't going to want to hear it, but their expectations are, for the most part, out of alignment with reality. You need to price it correctly. In fact, you should price it a little bit below the market value, because that way you're maximizing the exposure, and then you can leverage a few offers, leverage that interest, and try to pump up the price. So let's say you're 3 weeks on market, you're listed for 3 weeks, and you've had some open houses, and you've had a few people come through the door and kick the tires. That's fine, but keep in mind, a lot of the time right now, they're going for coffee. They see your open house sign and they think, hey, I might as well, I got 15 minutes to kill. I'm going to go have a look at this property. Open houses are great. You do want to maximize the exposure, and I like running open houses. But what you want is qualified buyers. So you want a buyer that's been pre-qualified with Royal Bank or Scotia or TD. They are working with a realtor. Okay, they are represented. Those are the ones that you want to get. And if you haven't had, I'm going to say in the first few weeks, if you haven't had at least 3 or 4, preferably 5 or 6 represented buyers with their realtors booking private appointments, if you haven't had that, then there's something going on there. There's something wrong, because the market's slow, but you should still be getting some activity here. You should still be getting some traffic. What it means is, typically, like I say, you're priced too high or the property hasn't been marketed correctly. But here's the deal. A realtor who knows the property is way overvalued is probably not going to go out of pocket and invest and really put the marketing muscle behind that property if they know that it's significantly overpriced. So now you're hurting yourself with the price, but you're also probably not marketing it as well as you could be. Another reason would be tenanted properties. There's more and more rules around that, huge liabilities. They don't show very well typically. They're hard to book private appointments. You got to work around the tenant schedule. I could do a whole video on that. Don't be listing tenanted properties right now. Get a mutual agreement to end tenancy, list it, get it professionally cleaned, staged, video tours, pump it out on social media, maximize the exposure. But you have to price this right. I know that there's a lot of agents out there that are starved for listings. They will promise you the moon in order to secure these listings, hoping that they're eventually going to grind you down and bring you down to reality. I see a lot of that. It's always been like that, but right now I see a lot of that. Properties that are just listed too high, multiple price reductions. And what happens is, eventually you're 200 days on market and you've lost all your momentum. Those first few weeks are crucial. In a lot of cases too, you now have a stigmatized property where the buyer goes through, they see it's been relisted, multiple price reductions. It's been on market for 200, 300 days on market. What's going on here? There must be something wrong with the property, even though there might not be. It might be a well-run strata, proactive strata in a very good building in a prime location. But now it's become stigmatized. You would have been better to list it for the price that your realtor recommended right out the gate, leverage some offers here, and tried to pump up the price. Now you're probably going to end up getting less for it than you would if you just listed it properly in the first place. And unfortunately, I do see a lot of that. So trust your realtor. If you don't trust them, you should hire another realtor, in my opinion. I'm Jay Coupar. Feel free to comment below or subscribe. If you do want a CMA, you want to know what your property is worth, click that green icon. I usually get that to you within a day or two. And see you in the next video.